Evening. We got another story tonight. This one is Monsters Incorporated. Scariest day ever. James P. Sullivan, or James P. Sully, or Sullivan, and his best friend Mike Wazowski were on scare duty at Monsters Incorporated. Sully stepped through the door and looked around. There was no one there. Mike, Sully said, poking his head back through the door. This room is empty. What are you talking about? Mike said, shoving past Sully into the room. The kids are always asleep by now. Sully shrugged. I guess we should go back to Montropolis. I got a lot of other kids to scare tonight. Sully turned towards the door. His tail knocked it shut. Meanwhile, on Scare for George Sanderson and his right-hand man, Charlie, were working in the same neighborhood as Mike and Sully. They saw an activated door, but no one appeared to be manning it. Huh? Charlie said when he saw the unmanned door. Looks like Mike and Sully accidentally left this one on. We better turn it off, George said. It isn't safe to leave a door to the human world active. Back in the human world, Sully reopened the closet door, but when he did, all he saw inside was the closet. The door back to the scare floor isn't working, said Sully. We're going to have to find another house with a working door and fast. Mike and Sully creeped through the house and stepped outside. Remembering, Sully said, "Don't touch anything." Mike nodded. All the monsters knew humans were toxic. But as they looked around, they realized that he didn't see any humans. Instead, the street was full of monsters. What's going on? Mike asked, scratching his head. Are we back in Montropolis? Suddenly, Mike and Sully heard a voice behind them. They spun around. A small monster was standing there, peering up at them. I like your costumes, he said before running off. Mike and Sully looked at each other. Costumes? What are they possibly be going on? Mike and Sully looked back at the street. There weren't only monsters walking around. There also were ghosts and black cats, pumpkins with legs, all kinds of other creatures. Suddenly, one of the monsters pulled off his face, and Mike and Sully gasped. It wasn't a monster at all. It was a child wearing a mask. They weren't back in Metropolis. They were surrounded by human children wearing disguises. Sully did his best to stay calm. We have to find a door back to Monsters Inc. And now, he said. George is working this neighborhood tonight, too. Like I said, we can catch one of his doors in time. We can get back through. Mike and Sully tried to find a way inside one of the neighbor houses. It wasn't easy. They had to dodge children left and right. There were other people at the front door, almost all human-like. Mike and Sully managed to sneak into a few houses, but none of the doors inside were powered up. In one house, they got to the bedroom just as George was leaving. "George!" Mike and Sully shouted, racing for the open closet door. "Wait for us." But they weren't fast enough. George hadn't heard them. Click, the door shut behind them. Mike and Sully opened the closet door, but there was no scare floor behind it. Just a closet filled with children's clothes. Mike and Sully were beginning to worry. They needed to get back to Montropolis before one of these kids touched them. "It's getting late," Mike said. "Do you think any of the doors back to the scare floor are still in use?" "I sure hope so," Sully said. Then Mike and Sully noticed a house with no one around. The front door was flung wide open. "Maybe there's a ticket home. Come on, let's go." Mike and Sully tiptoed inside the house. As they crept towards the door, they heard the sound of talking and laughing. The house wasn't empty, like they thought. "Oh no," Sully said as he realized what was going on. "We're in the middle of a party," Mike exclaimed. "Whoa," he said. Someone behind Mike and Sully, two of them spun around. The boys stood there staring at them. "Cool costume." Mike and Sully slowly began to back away. Mike," said Sully. "It's Halloween." "Oops," said Mike. "I guess I missed that memo." "Hey," the boy called to his friend. "Check out these cool monster costumes." Mike and Sully shrunk backwards as the group of children approached them. "Your costumes look real," the little girl exclaimed. "Can I touch your fur?" She reached her hand toward Sully. Mike shrieked. "No!" Sully roared. Suddenly he forgot how big and frightening he was. The kids screamed at the top of their lungs and ran away, but Mike and Sully were almost as terrified as all. "Let's get out of here," Mike shouted. He and Sully turned to run. Mike pulled Sully into the closet bedroom and slammed the door shut behind them. "Please, please, please, please let this door work," Mike said. "What are you chanting?" George is using this door, asked Sully. "Slim," said Mike. "But we have to try." Mike and Sully crossed their fingers. They opened the closet door, and it worked. They walked back into the scare floor at Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sully breathed a huge sigh of relief. They made it home safe. On the other side, they found George and Charlie. "What are you guys doing coming through the door?" George asked. "I was just about to scare those kids on the other side." "You saved us," Sully said. "Our door is broken." "Oops. We thought you had left it by accident. We shut down. Sorry." "It's okay. We're back now. But whatever you do, do not go through that door." "Why not?" "It's Halloween, and there's kids everywhere," Sully explained. "Thanks, Halloween is the scariest day ever." "All right, thank you." And that was all for today. We'll see you again tomorrow.